Our shed home has been shared on the internet more than 3 million times. Kind of cool, but kind of weird too. Anyway, welcome to the show. You should see what we've actually done today. Oh, by the way, I'm Barry Smith. Welcome to Radio Tiny House.
And I'm Beth.
I turned our podcast studio into a television production studio.
It's amazing. We've got this, and we've got that, and we've got lights, and we've got all kinds of things.
Multiple monitors, multiple lights, multiple computers.
And I'm just showing up.
Yeah. Yeah, Beth just goes,
okay, I'll show up.
Let's just go do the podcast.
Right. Just tell me when to be there and I'll be there. You do all the work. You get it all ready.
Yeah, it's the podcast is fun and I hope you guys get a lot out of it. But it's not always easy to do. I mean, it's
way more complicated than anyone will tell you.
When we first started down this road, our idea was just to do an audio podcast. And,
easy
peasy. I mean, it's easy compared to this. But then with this, you got to set the lights and the cameras. You got to find the right camera. And then when you buy a camera, you find out that it doesn't work well. So you have to revert to an iPhone, which is what we're shooting on now. I mean, it's crazy. It's not as easy as you think it's going to be.
And we are yes, I know people are going to go, but they're boomers. They don't know what they're doing. We are pretty tech savvy. And this has been an uphill challenge.
I've done audio and video work. I mean, not paid work, but, volunteer work at places.
I do video editing and I do all that stuff, but just getting the internet, solving the internet problem, solving, when and how we're going to do the podcast, things change and move. I mean, and getting screen sharing to happen. I mean, it is a little bit crazy. And we have so many different technologies to try out.
Right. Because we have like in this room right now, we've got an Android phone, 2 iPhones, a Mac Mini, and a PC. I mean, it's so
and some other things.
Technology always talks with each other, and that's been kind of
that frustrates me. He likes it, and I'm like, fine, I'll just show up. You get it ready, I'll just show up.
I do like technology,
so that's what we're here to do. I'm here to show up and talk about tiny houses, and you're here to support all of that with all this equipment.
Yes, all this equipment. That's right.
That's right. All right, enough of that.
If you're going to start a podcast, then just know.
It's a little more complicated than you think it's going to be.
That's right. But you don't have to spend a fortune. You can use, phone or whatever you've got to get started. You can use your Android as long as the phone's got a camera in it. Yeah. Might be a little odd to do a video podcast without a camera.
Right. So then that would just be an audio podcast. But yeah,
which is also fun.
But even though people say that, I've been saying that, then we find that we want something different. So yes, we end up with lots more technology. Right. It is what it is. But so anyway, let's go on.
Well, I mean, yes, but that's the nature of things.
It is the nature of things.
The more you get into something, the more you need.
The more you know, the less you know. that's pretty much what we're finding out. All right.
But it looks good. We smell good. Or at least I do.
I think I do. I don't know. I don't think I smell bad. That's a good thing.
No, that is a good thing. So on today's show, we're going to talk about some tiny house news.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about a new building that I guess they've been around for a little while. Not like forever. But we're going to talk about a new building that's also kind of a new way to build.
Yeah.
And
pretty cool.
We're going to tell you a little bit about that. So start off with some tiny house news. We ought to have a theme song here.
Okay, I can add one. It's going to sound like that music that I usually put in here.
Yeah, well, we can use the music from your old podcast.
That's true.
That's true. So a poll by a company I've never heard of before. It's the IPX 1030 poll. They're a financial company.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of a weird name for a company. It may mean something in financial circles.
That's better than the Fifth Third Bank.
Yes, I still don't understand.
I don't know what marketing person told them that was a good idea. But anyway, the company IPX 1030.
1031. Yes,
it's
not 1030. It's not 1032. It's
1031.
1031. Found that 56% of Americans would consider living in a tiny house.
Yeah, because they're tired of all the stuff that they have that they're hauling around. They're tired of their overhead. They're attracted to the lifestyle. Just the fact that our group, our Facebook group, and others like us are growing exponentially.
Right.
shows you that.
That's exactly right. And it's, years ago, everybody wanted kind of the typical American house, or to aspire to something even larger than that. But now people are kind of thinking about what they want out of their lives. Do they want more stuff, or do they want to have more experiences? And I think that's where we kind of wound up, is that we didn't want our lives polluted really with a whole bunch of
let's be
stuff.
honest. Some days on Thanksgiving or Christmas, I'd like more room. I'd like to have the big house with the family and everything.
Right.
And we always make other arrangements, because ours was always the house that everybody came to. And we were the one who always had all that. And that is a little harder. And we've, made accommodations in different ways. But the daily living in a small house makes life so much easier. Yes. If there's it's easier to look more cluttered, because, one piece of clutter looks like a lot.
Paper towel on the table looks like an
what's
avalanche.
What's this doing here? Yeah. So we work through that, but mostly, I think a lot of people are attracted to that because they understand that we're only going around one time, right? And they realize that they're working for, what are they working for? A house that nobody comes to, particularly during COVID. So I think I think we're changing. I think big houses there will always be people who have mansions and big houses and things like that. But I think other things will change. So interesting that I'm not the only one who thinks.
That's right. And that also kind of explains the popularity of, like the development that was just created in Clarkston.
Right.
That it looks like, they sold out.
Well, he's talking about tiny home community we've talked about before.
Yeah. They sold out before they had their grand opening. They never got to open a house to sell it.
Right.
Which is kind of cool.
It's a tiny home pocket community. Right. And people want to live. I think people want to live in tiny houses, both in cities and in rural settings. And right now it's easier to do it in rural, but cities are getting it.
Right.
That they are trying to make it more available.
Right. And that's, if you want to look at that up, that's the cottages on Vaughn in Clarkston, Georgia. They don't have any more units for sale. Houses. I shouldn't call them units. It sounds like an apartment.
No, they're little houses.
They don't have any more houses for sale, but there's a potential new development of, I think, 32 homes in Gwinnett County, which is north of Atlanta. Where they're looking to put not really a subdivision, but just I think they called it an enclave of tiny homes. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Once it happens, more will happen.
That's
more
exactly right. That's exactly right.
And let's talk about your next point.
Oh, the next point. Yes. And this is, again, I've never heard of porch.com.
I have. I've heard of porch.com.
I had thought of that because
according to porch.com.
Sit on a porch. According to porch.com, the typical tiny house is 225 square feet in the U.S. And that costs about 62% more per square foot than the typical normal neighborhood subdivision house does. Right.
And people are like, these cottages on Bond, some of them, what was the top one? So it was 300 and something. $80 a square foot. Right. And I think that's actually the smallest one. But what happens is you still have to have land. You still have to have a septic system. You still have to have water. You still have to have bathrooms, and you still have to have kitchens. Exactly. Right. So the other things that you build in a house are cheap compared to those things that I just mentioned. Right. You still have to have the electrician come. You still have to have the plumber show up. You still have to have all those things. So instead of it being in proportion, it's a disproportionate cost per square foot. The smaller the house, the more it costs per square foot, because you have to have all those other things. You have to have a piece of ground to put it on, and it's probably going to be about the same size ground if it's 200 square feet than if it's 400 square feet, right? Because you have to have, a place to put your house. So that's why tiny houses come up so high on the per square foot basis. Now, I have seen tiny houses on wheels, right, that are like $115,000, $95,000. That's pretty high, even though if you look for an RV, you'll realize there are many RVs that are that price. Or more. So that's like that's a lot of money. But yeah. But but when you look at the amenities and washers and dryers and all those things, then you understand that even if you live in a 200 square foot, you still have to have a washer and a dryer,
Right.
Or a washer like we have a 1 unit. But anyway, so you're going to have the same cost, except the bedrooms, which is the cheap part, are surgically removed.
Right.
The extra bathroom always costs, some, but usually they're like a half bath or something. So yeah, I think people are shocked when they see the per square foot. Here's the other interesting thing. People say, I don't want to have tiny houses in my neighborhood because it might
lower the value of my home.
Right. But in essence, because of what we just talked about, it usually raises the comps.
Right. Because
it's
the comps
cost
are based
per
on
footage,
square foot. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Goes up. So they're being a little silly about
thinking. But that's because most people don't know. They don't understand how comps are done. They look at it and they go,
just think something different's coming.
That house down there was $299,000, and these people want to put something in that's $75,000.
Exactly. And so
they don't look
get
at it from a cost per square foot deal.
Right.
Now that said, even though cost per square foot is typically higher than the American typical, what would you call that?
Normal,
we have the standard
comparable,
American diet, standard American house.
Yeah, okay, call it that.
A tiny house, according to CNBC, is still about 87% cheaper than buying the typical American house. If you look at just dollar per
87% cheaper.
Right.
So if the house is I don't know if I can do this math, but if the house is $200,000, right? 90% off, because I can't do it 87 in my head, but 90% off means you're only paying 10% of the same cost. So if it's $200,000, you got a $20,000 house.
Right.
Yeah. Sadly, tiny houses are not. Well, I mean, there are some that are inexpensive.
Yeah, there are
especially shed conversions and things like that. But getting something to $200,000 to $20,000 right now is really hard.
Yes, it is.
You're really looking at something probably
very small.
I don't even
repair,
or somebody has recycling everything just with all the things that cost money. Be hard to live in anything that was $20,000.
Right. And if you just saw something, I think I just kicked the tripod a little bit, but I was trying to stretch out my leg because I'm having a little bit of a cramp. But
you want to get up and jump it around and I'll edit it out?
I may have whacked the the tripod a bit, so okay. I'm sorry.
So we're just having an earthquake.
We're having an earthquake.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So then on the home front, I thought that our invasive bee problem was done.
But I saw them. And they're crawling in the hole that the bumblebees are living in. Well, I'm not bumblebees, carpenter bees.
So that's what these bees do. These sculptured resin bees kill carpenter bees.
I keep calling them bumblebees. They're carpenter bees.
Holes, they spray them with stuff, and they lay their eggs in there, and they leave the dead carpenter bee for their larvae to eat as they're eating.
Disgusting.
So, well, nature's cruel.
But we still have
rats.
Yeah. Barry's still sniping them. I'm still putting out things for them to eat. We won't say the P word.
Pellets.
I'm still putting out things for them to eat, and so they can go away and die.
I got 6. I shot 6 the other night, and I thought, well, that would certainly diminish some of them.
It has. So we're still fighting the wildlife.
The rodent problem.
Okay, so let's talk about the real reason we're here today.
Well, I thought this was all part of the real reason.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but why are we really
here? People want to hear.
Tiny houses.
Audience wants to hear about rats.
Tiny houses. No, I don't think they do, really. I think we want to talk about them because they're meaningful to us, but I'm not sure anybody wants to hear about rats.
Ben, about that rat?
I don't know.
So today we're going to talk about tiny houses and how you can possibly use them as an ADU.
Yeah, an auxiliary dwelling
unit. And we're going to look at one in particular today.
Yep.
Which is kind of a new way to build. And I think it's one of the coolest tiny houses I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So it is.
Well, wait a minute. Let's talk about. Wait. No, let's talk about what an auxiliary dwelling unit is. Right. I mean, we have before on our podcast, but an auxiliary dwelling unit is a smaller unit that goes usually behind sometimes beside a main house.
But never in.
Never. Well, I don't know. I guess if you
could
you
put it
converted
in
the
basement.
garage, you
Yeah,
could
garage.
do it. So the normal way that it happens, it's in the backyard.
Right.
Right. And so like a carriage house or an apartment over a garage or something like that. And many cities are realizing, just as we desperately need affordable and a single person or two-person housing, that they have started relaxing some of the laws that got closed. There was a time when, a vibrant city had all kinds of sizes of houses.
Right.
And then we decided to start the burbs. Right. And then they started kind of changing up exactly. Things became really zoned. All the duplexes are over here and all the apartments are over here and all the houses are over here and none of them mix. So now cities are realizing that in order to stay a vibrant environment for all different kinds of people, that they need to make those available.
All different types of housing.
Right. So Atlanta has reinstituted accessory dwelling units, which are backyard units. Several of the smaller cities around the Atlanta area. San Francisco, I know San Diego has.
And San Francisco.
San Francisco has. There are various houses.
I don't know if Los Angeles has or not.
Yeah, there are various cities that are doing it. It's less popular in the burbs.
Right.
They don't really want somebody living in the backyard. Heck, they don't even want people to have a shed in their backyard.
Well, right. And that, again, is part of the, one of the dangers of homeowners associations is that you may or may not be able to do something like that.
Right.
You may not be able to put your granny in a flat
in the backyard. So you do have to be really careful about it, but and make sure you do your homework. But we have, this has become very popular. There is a new manufacturer, called Boxabl, that is making really the coolest transportable building that we've seen. And so they've solved a lot of the problems about modular homes. Modular homes have been around for a long time.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But they would bring a big trailer and have a big box and set it down, and then they go get another trailer and bring another box and set it down and then assemble them all together. Our house is sort of a modular house because it was a panelized, we'll call ours. They brought it in panels and then assembled it on our property. Now, we live in a shed, but we don't live in a ready removable shed. Right. We live in a built on site thing. So Boxabl has figured out how to take that whole modular, bring it on a trailer and just present it to you on your house, on your property.
It's almost flat packed.
Like IKEA meets a housing. IKEA's tried to do tiny houses, but even they haven't done this.
And this is, and I think, there are other manufacturers out there that do this.
Not exactly.
Not exactly, but there are people that do foldable and kind of semi-foldable houses in Europe where they just kind of
lift up the roof or something like that.
So, and it's just mainly a way to get it shipped appropriately. So it can go on one truck and you can get it to where you need it.
Right. So Boxabl has come up with this new invention. And Barry's going to share the screen so you can kind of see it. And you may have seen this if you're following tiny houses.
And just to let everybody know, we're an affiliate of Boxabl. So, we're excited about that too. But this is outside of that. This is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And you're going to see it in 3, 2, 1. There we go. That is, this is the box off of the Boxabl website. And you can see that it just, these guys are working faster here than they normally would at your build site.
Of course, because they're in fast motion.
But this is a Boxabl. It's
about 400 square feet.
About 400 square feet. It starts at about $250 a month if you're making monthly payments, or about $49,500. And you can see how they do it. They're using a crane. They're using staff. They lower it down. They raise up a wall.
When it comes to you is 8 feet wide.
Right.
Now, what's gotten really popular is that there is the rumor, and it's a pretty solid rumor, that Elon Musk has put one of these on SpaceX.
Right.
And the little
Down
leak
in
of that,
Boca Chica, Texas.
Boca Chica, Texas. The little leak of that is that they have this, and they were pulling it with a Tesla. Here's the problem with Boxabl.
Okay.
It's a fabulous thing,
Before we
and
get down to any other pictures.
we'll show you what the interior looks like. But here's the problem: they are so popular.
Oh, yes.
That the wait is going to be very
Months.
long.
But you can see here, I mean, they say complete right out of the box, except, I mean, the picture, of course, shows bed and a sofa and stuff like that, but you don't get that. So you have to bring your own. But what you do get is you do get a fully equipped kitchen with a refrigerator, sink, microwave, cabinets, and a washer dryer combo. So you get all that stuff with your Boxabl.
And did you say bathroom? I'm like, the bathroom's already.
Well, you get a bathroom. It's a full bath.
Or a shower, I think it is.
There's a bathtub there too.
Oh, is there?
That shows.
Okay, well, we'll see the real thing in a minute.
And then
and it's 375 square feet
right.
under the living thing, it says. And then, but the wonderful thing about the way they've done it is they've made it out of structural insulated panels, which are steel.
Yeah, they take this construction and they I don't know what they've put inside.
It looks like foam.
It looks like foam. And then they put steel on the outer edge. So it's basically fire. I won't say it's fireproof. I guess it could burn at the right temperatures, but it's fire resistant, certainly water resistant. I mean, you know, I've watched them take a sledgehammer to the outside of the thing and
a blowtorch on the outside on the steel.
Kind of dents it.
Right. So metal, the wonderful thing about metal
right.
is that it, you know, you don't have to paint it. You know, you put this thing up in your backyard, it's going to just be in your backyard.
Right.
Right. And so you just have I'm sure they're asking for you to have like a perfectly flat,
you gotta have
concrete foundation
right.
And your plumbing has to be lined up a certain way. And there's some pre-work that has to happen. And then you just open the thing up and you have a house.
Yep.
Like that day.
Yeah.
All right.
The other thing that has, of course, I'm a big fan of LED lights, but you have LED lights throughout the house.
Very energy efficient.
It is very energy efficient. So this is the inside of the model.
Really cute.
It's very cute.
It's a little IKEA dorm roomy, but you could, you know, with a few modifications, you would make it look more like your own home.
Well, and I think you can probably say, look, I don't want that kind of cabinet. I want, granite.
Well, I mean, there's that tricky part from $49,500.
Well, right. So,
right.
Yes,
from means you can upgrade.
Yes, you can upgrade. That's right. And you can also, on their website, you can also get an idea of what they might be able to do one day with Boxables by stacking them or putting them side by side.
Oh, I know. It's amazing. Like the way we did see one where they have the square. Right. And then they've got another square. As if those of you that know our house, it's basically a bottom floor and a top floor, just repeating.
Right.
Right. So Boxabl is talking about adding the different layers. This layer, first one is the casita.
Right.
Small accessory dwelling unit is how they're marketing them. And I think that has a lot to do with where they're putting them. They're in Las Vegas. And there's if you're going to move it to a different state, there's going to be some things that you'll have to figure out, right? Are they certified in your state, and can you build in this state, and can you have all this stuff?
An engineer's stamp for your state,
all that stuff. So I think they're using the ADU, accessory dwelling unit, delivered to your backyard because they know that meets code in Nevada where they are.
Right.
But if you wanted to get it out of state, and I'm sure many people do, that there's some technical stuff that will have to happen.
Right.
Right. And so as we have signed up to be affiliates. We think this is a great product. So if you decide that you choose to do that, obviously we'll have a link in the description below about how to do that. It doesn't cost you anything. It makes us a little bit of money, but more to the point.
Well, if you buy.
Well, yeah,
of course. You can still go look.
You can go look. But if you decide to do that, I'm happy to, or Barry will help you figure out the logistics of getting it there. Now, your situation may be that it's impossible to do.
Right.
But until we all start looking into it, we won't know. So just know that just because they have it doesn't mean you can buy it. for $250 a month. I'm sure there's
Well-
financing and all that stuff, but also you have to make sure before you buy it, please don't buy it unless you know you can put it in your
Right.
on your property.
Yeah, you've got to make sure that you can put this on your property, in your county, in your city, in your state, whatever.
Mhm.
In Georgia, Georgia's adopted Appendix Q, right?
Right. So
So
we
that
can
we
have
can
the
have-
size, but whether or not they let the pre-manufactured
Right.
casita from Boxabl be approved, that's the question. So we
Right.
got to make sure before you sign up on the dotted line that we know the answer to
Right.
that. And that's what I would caution anyone to do.
And it's not a typical modular building when you think about it. But it is,
But they're going to
because
want to
it's
make
a-
sure that that electrical's up to code
Yep,
and that
and the
plumbing's
plumbing's
up to code and all
everything.
those things. So
So
before you
that's-
sign
that's
up,
right.
you need to make sure.
But think about it. If you've ever been on a cruise, the way they build ships these days is all modular.
Well, they build
They do crane. They lift up
hotels.
cranes.
They
Yep.
do this for hotels. They
Yep.
bring boxes out and they just throw
And-
up a hotel in a week.
Apartment buildings, they're doing that way
Yes,
now too.
same
So I
thing.
mean, not now. They've been doing that for a while, but yeah, same thing. So modular. When you think of modular, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
No,
I mean, it's in
I
many
mean,
ways.
it makes so much sense because we
does.
have so few people willing to do construction. So many of our kids have been pushed toward 4-year college and can't get work. And we don't have enough plumbers and electricians and drywallers, and people don't want to work out where it's hot. So if you're putting people in the Boxabl factory that just happens to be going by as I'm speaking right now, but if they're working in a factory, right, and they've figured it out and they're just replicating the same thing over and over again, maybe the color's different, maybe they're adding 2 pieces together, but yes, at some point, everybody doesn't want to live in the same box,
Right.
but it's unique enough right now that I think it would be really interesting. But you just have to make sure it meets the code of where you're going to.
Of where you're going to put it. Right.
And I'm sure they'll be getting certifications and things like that, or
Right.
they may already have them that I'm not aware.
So this is the factory. I'm not sure. I don't know that the factory itself has opened yet. But
They've got a few done, but I don't
yeah.
know that they're really using the robots, which of course,
kind of cool.
kind of cool.
Bots. Now,
But those are structural insulated panels with steel inside and out.
Right. And so these are factory robots. They're not Elon Musk's new human-looking robots, which is kind of cool, but also kind of scary.
Kind of creepy. Okay.
All right, so let us change this again. We're going to go back to here, and because I don't want to make you seasick with.
Yeah, they're kind of
me.
moving around, aren't they?
Yeah, they're moving around there, and it's. I like to go fast, so. I mean, it's really a cool thing. You can get it wheelchair accessible. You can get it. You can put it on a concrete slab foundation. I'm assuming you could probably put it on a basement if you wanted.
I mean, people ask that question all the time of tiny houses and shed homes. Yeah, as long as you have the right spans, you can put it on a basement.
Right.
So
And-
I'm sure that they're telling us what they can do, all kinds of things.
So here we go. Concrete strip footing.
Yeah.
CMU
So,
wall,
and there's a
concrete
double
wall.
stacked one right there.
Yeah, here's a double stacked one on the right here by my mouse, because I don't know if you're looking at it from the left or from the right,
Right.
or from upside down.
Right.
If you're upside down, then call for help.
So, of course, the easiest thing is just to put it on a concrete foundation, but there's a lot of other things that can happen. So, yeah, they've got the little plates. You just screw it down.
Yep.
So we think it's pretty cool. We love being an affiliate for them, and we're excited about it. Now, if you decide that you want to get your name on the list, they have how many people on the waiting list?
Thousands.
50,000?
Yeah, something like that.
50,000, something like that. So your name is way at the bottom, and but that's people who have said, "Hey, I want one."
Right.
But if
So-
you put money down, it's a different
Right.
list.
So you can go ahead, you can click the link that will be below. You can follow that link and it will take you to the information page, and then you can reserve one from there. Reserving one doesn't cost you anything. But if you want to make sure you're going to get one, if you're going to get bumped to the head of the line, then you can reserve one and that moves you up. Or if you go ahead and pay the $49.5
but
for one, you get bumped up even further.
So I think there's 3 tiers. Let me make sure that I understand. There's The first tier is, hey, I want one. It's pretty cool.
Right.
That's where the 50,000 people are.
Right.
But
probably,
you haven't
yes.
put any money down.
No money down. Right.
But then you go, hey, I want one. I'm going to give you $1,000.
Right.
So I'm putting my money where my mouth is. And that takes you a much shorter line.
Right.
Right. And then you move into, I don't know, maybe if you pay the whole thing all at once and write a check for 50,000, that might put you in the front of the line.
Right. Yes. Yes.
I think that's how it works.
Yeah.
If you're interested, of course, look on the Boxabl website. There's lots of things that you can do that, but we would love it if you choose to order. If you would go to our affiliate link,
right,
which is in the bottom underneath in the video. Obviously, you can't do that when you're on your phone as easily.
Right.
But you have to be on
certainly
your,
not
or
when you're
on
driving.
your TV. Certainly not when you're driving. But we would love it if you decide that you want to look into that to use our affiliate link. That'd be great.
We would appreciate that greatly.
Also, great rental units.
Oh, yeah.
So if you've got a house and you're like, I'm tired of paying these payments, a $50,000 Boxabl in your backyard can go a far way, because these things are going to rent. Well, it depends on your neighborhood, obviously, but these things are going to rent for pretty penny and would be able to offset you get your return on investment pretty quickly. Yeah. So that's another option.
Yep, that's a good thing. So again, we on our show, we like to talk about all kinds of tiny houses and shed homes and anything else to say?
I don't think so. I think we've covered it.
Thanks for listening today. I hope you enjoyed it and got some information out of Boxabl that you find intriguing. And again, if you want to order one, or if you want to even find out more information about it, click the link below. It's our Boxabl link. And you can find us at radiotinyhouse.com, on Facebook at Tiny Houses Shed Homes. That's our Facebook group. If you've got a question or a comment, you can email us at radiotinyhouse@gmail.com. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that bell so you get all the information. We'd love to have you subscribe.
And we do download a video Monday mornings. Every Monday morning now, our podcast goes up, and we're trying to add some additional things. So if you subscribe, you'll get to see all of them.
That's exactly right. And you'll be updated.
Exactly.
And you'll feel good. Bye.
Bye.